less visible. The filter is gone. It's called the gateway of light activation. This is a very cosmic oracle deck. It has the main E.T. races, and if you are not familiar with the E.T. races, I would highly recommend, like, even if you search on Google basic or popular E.T. races, it'll show you. So popular ones are the Greys. They're known to be the evil ones, but again, like every E.T. race, there's benevolent beings in those races. And then just like humanity has humans who were pure evil and only cared about conquering lands. So that's a concept behind the evil E.T. races, on a cosmic scale. They wanted to take over planets and star systems. So there have been wars or galactic warfare on a spiritual, energetic scale amongst races like reptilians. What are the other ones that are known to and then Lyrans, some of the races got mixed in the battles, so they weren't evil, but in order to protect their star systems, they had to fight back. So those would be the Lyrans. The feline beings are the Lyrans. Reptilians are more the lizard-looking ones. And then we have Arcturians, the advanced technology E.T.s, supposedly, according to many remote viewers and channelers. So, and then we have Pleiadians. They're also the benevolent ones. They are more closely working with the humanity race, as are Arcturians. And then I know a few channelers who also talk about Arcturians and Andromedans. They were one of the original, like, Egyptian times who helped kind of shape the DNA of humanity. So we have Andromedans, we have Lyrans, half lion, feline, and then we also have Sirian, Sirius, Sirius star system beings from there who in Egyptian in calligraphy and their structures, you'll see those beings were half dogs and half human. So that's Sirius B, and then there's Sirius A, and then you have beings that are half mermaid, half human too. And what else do we have? The Anunnaki are also considered evil, but they're also known to be helpful in the ascension of humanity. So you kind of have to use your discernment, like with as a good example is how our governments are. How would you rate the Russian government, right? Putin, right? Is he a benevolent leader, or would you consider whoever supports him in this war against Ukraine? Maybe even it's 5 people, right? And then there's that sort of drawing that type of connection. There's like 5 main reptilians who kind of spoiled or dirty the waters for other reptilians. So these types of concepts are what I kind of want to touch upon from whatever I've learned about ETs, because the disclosures have been happening for thousands of years on our planet, and then they're just increasing this year. So the government is testing to see how people react. And then most recent case is maybe some of you have read or heard, during the Super Bowl there were 3 UFOs, unidentified flying objects, near US-Canada border, but they turned out not to be ET or malevolent either. So that kind of just left people wondering, like, what's this unknown thing? So again, that split, should we fear it or should we not worry about it? So yeah, that was just my main point here, that everything we see now that AI is also increasing to use discernment, our own discernment, and depending on how spiritual you are and whether you do consider life on other planets and other star systems, galaxies, if that message resonates with you, how are you when there is mass disclosure, or even if spiritually, energetically, like an ET does reach out to you, which happens to a lot of people. We just don't hear it on social media, or people sometimes don't like sharing that stuff. But some sources to get to learn a bit more about the different ET races or people who've had experiences. Joe Rogan has some episodes. Gaia TV, there's just a whole breakdown by E.T.s De Stefano, so his IG page, and then Gaia TV. There are free episodes on YouTube, and they're also on Instagram. Your mind will be blown away. They also share other spiritual techniques for meditation and just your individual spiritual growth. So many resources, and I just wanted to share a few. And then just that thing to be mindful of, because if you're joining my live, I know we're all spiritual to an extent, and we do open our minds up to this higher or consciousness, and how the higher consciousness, source consciousness, created different planets, star systems, galaxies, and Milky Way galaxies, just like a tiny, tiny galaxy, right? So just like we have planet Earth, there are other planets with supposedly, most likely, life on them. And so going back to the deck, I just want to pull a few. Okay, these 2 wanted to come out. These always come out. So we have Akashic Records, clearing old stories, releasing past lives, freedom. And that kind of hits upon the disclosure, like freedom, right? The concept of just letting information be free and shareable by all. And then Akasha is basically the ethers, Akashic records. So it's basically a library of etheric records of a soul. Imagine you go to like one of those old libraries that have like big shelves of books. So Akashic records, you take out a book and it says your name on it. So in this lifetime, you're going to be this person, right? And then you're looking at it as a soul. I've had dreams, astral type dreams, where I'm kind of lucid and I know it's of spiritual significance. One, because it's repeated a lot. And then I've done intuitive checks using decks like these to confirm whether they were just random dreams about things I read versus literally my spirit guides kinda using dream time to help me learn these spiritual concepts of Akashic records. So you go, right, one of those dreams or astral time, projection or lucid dreaming where you know you're dreaming but it has spiritual significance. You take out a book of a character, you the soul, the consciousness, right? And you're like, okay, in this lifetime I'm gonna play this character. So there's different types of books. That's me just giving you an example of what Akashic records are. And then once a soul, like a person passes away, right? They leave the body, that book is closed. But the consciousness, the experiences remain in that Akashic book for that particular lifetime. And then source consciousness holds these in the ethers metaphorically, and then the soul, if it wants to have another lifetime, picks out another book, right? And then this is where also it gets cool. Picks out another book. This is where lifetimes and parallel lives come in. So I left the blue book. Now let me stop this filter so you guys can see. No filter. Okay. So pink and blue, right? So I lived this lifetime, my soul, as an extension of oversoul, aka source. I lived this lifetime. Now I want to try out or experience this lifetime. And then in the Akasha, or the sphere of source consciousness, time and space are not the tools, or they're not used because humans created them in this 3D reality. So if I want to come back again because I want to experience different lessons, different things, I will pick this one. And then once I'm here, if I'm a spiritual person or I care about looking at a past life or a parallel life to access, say, certain spiritual activities I used to do. So if I'm energy healer here, but I really don't care about it, but I was also energy healer here and I really cared about it and I developed some really good skills. From this lifetime, I can meditate, raise my consciousness, and access those skills, and they'll come a little faster. Some things I learned from spiritual teachers I follow, or spiritual influencers I follow who are older, who guide many people on their spiritual journeys. They do they read these people's past life records in order to help them let go of certain energies or traumas. So from their lessons, I've learned that you don't necessarily need to clear out your karma unless it was like a big thing that you're repeating, a big lesson you're repeating in this lifetime. So that's when the idea of soul groups comes in. Like you reincarnate with the similar souls, and in the previous lifetime, if they were, say, your brother or sister, in this lifetime, they might be your friend or your parent. Or if they're your parent now, in a previous lifetime, they were your child. So those types of things, just to give you guys some general ideas on how deep spirituality can get, and the concept of Akashic records and parallel lives, aka past lives. So that's Akashic records. And then in this case of disclosures, it would be releasing information about lifetimes where a lot of teachers, again, that I follow, they said they've been other ET races, say Deja Blue, or another channeler I follow, Akura. She was an Arcturian. So you don't always decide to be a human being. You've also experienced being a Pleiadian, a Lyran, or a Syrian being. Yeah, just to not throw too much information at you to confuse you, but some basics. And then going off of the topic of technology, this card, Memories of Atlantis, and Lost City of Atlantis might sound familiar to some of you guys, where the city was supposedly sunk near Nile River area, that whole territory. So Atlantean beings were highly advanced humans, basically. But due to a few leaders who got too much power and lost in their egos to have even more control, aka their masculine divine energies overpowered their divine feminine energies. So because of those things and that karmic build-up, that dissonance in their how would I put it, desire to serve source without having their own egos, intentions behind conquering, say, or gaining more power, right? And that fell. That whole civilization kind of disappeared or met their demise. So that's Lost City of Atlantis. And then again, Atlantean beings, some of us were there. And then, so it's cool that card came up because more disclosure is happening. And then what does that even mean? It means that ET beings that have been helping us for thousands of years, they really want humanity to ascend this time into 5D. So they don't want us to repeat the Lost City of Atlantis. That's where they're trying really hard to help us. So yeah, spiritual acceleration, progress, technology. And look at where we are. Our technology is so advanced now too, right? And spiritual acceleration is also happening. But we just don't. Now that makes more sense why Akashic Records and Lost City of Atlantis came up. We don't want to repeat that past life. It's done. It's over. It's boring to repeat it. So we're not going to repeat this. We're going to... What was the other card? What's at the bottom? I think I mixed up the bottoms. But I hope some of that made sense. Jasmine is saying, LOL, a song on my Spotify repeat playlist called Memories of Atlantis. Nice. Yeah, I love this Kyle Gray deck. He's a really spiritually advanced teacher. If he's also on Instagram. He has many oracle decks and his messages are really so all about source, high light and love dimension, that access to the divine beings of different religions and spiritual practices. Like he includes Sikhism, Christianity, Islam, all the religions, Buddhism, Hinduism. It doesn't leave anything out. Let's see what another card. Yeah, if you have questions about E.T.s, again, some sources are Matias De Stefano on Instagram or Gaia TV on YouTube, or you can actually do a free trial of their channel. And Deja Blue podcast is another person I follow. Phil Good, Phil, last name Good, Phil Good. He's a channeler. And then Elizabeth April does more. She does way more with E.T.s. She's apparently a gray alien, but she's not the evil one. She's a good gray. So she, yeah, her stuff is really cool. And then again, she says if it resonates with you, take her messages. If it doesn't, that's okay. It's just about just keeping our minds open to the possibility and not being afraid or being suppressed by the government to think a certain way, to use our own discernment when more disclosure does happen. Or, you know, going back to the Akashic Records, like when we pick out a book, that character there, and the soul group of also includes your other beings, right? Not just like these are not just human souls in your soul group. There are other souls from other systems that have never taken human form. So you choose what big ticket items you're going to experience in this lifetime. And if you have chosen but you don't remember now, like because you're not supposed to remember, that you had signed up to communicate with E.T.s. And there have been many documentaries where people have said like they were abducted by aliens or they were visited in their rooms by aliens. Those types of scenarios. So if it happens to you or it happens to someone you know or someone tells you, tell them not to worry. Yes, it's scary and like you get really nervous, like what the heck is happening to me, who's in my room, but you can just pray, tell them to pray, and then your free will cannot be taken away by these beings. So you just have to be really authoritative and tell them, I am not open to channeling your energy, and please leave me now. I do show them respect, but again, remember, if it happens to you, your soul had signed up for it. And I'm also saying that for personal experience. I think that's a story for another time because we are running out of time and we should meditate too. Okay. These cards flew out. Let's see which. So Merkaba, we know the Merkaba is our protection vehicle, just like a spaceship, which is cool because we're talking about aliens, right? Merkaba is our energy ship. So astral projections, I won't go into it, but I've mentioned it before on this channel, for a spirit-like body, which is housed in the physical body, we got the Merkaba. And then if people at will who do channelers, who do remote viewing, they turn on, aka they activate their Merkaba. So it's if you imagine the Giza pyramids, this one points up, right? And that one points down. So we are composed of not only light, but we also have these geometric shapes, forms that carry us. Nice. So if you imagine your soul, let me use a pen. Your soul, which is this light, is housed in this Merkaba vehicle of light. You're basically your spaceship, which you are safe in to travel the ethers, the akashas, right? And then Archangel Metatron is the protector of this. So you can call on Archangel Metatron to keep you safe if you do feel like there are energies around you sometimes who might make you feel uncomfortable, or you just, if you go someplace new, you can always pray to Archangel Metatron, please turn on my Merkaba, activate my protection shield, so I am, wherever I am safe, or wherever I am traveling, I'll be safe. So that's our spaceship. And then E.T.s have their own. Yeah. Then Order of Melchizedek. Melchizedek, I can read about that. But this is again the reminder to embrace. We are embraced by light. And then just don't give up on your personal ascension too, right? And then also we hear, this is a good reminder of not getting burdened by the negative news in the media. And not everything they show is true or real. Our government has been known to distract us a lot by starting something over here when something's going on here. So discernment, and then not giving up on your own spiritual growth by feeling guilty or bad that you're safe and sound while someone else is suffering. Yes, we feel empathy for them, but dropping into that guilt energy, let me project this thing. I took a screenshot, it'll make more sense. So when we look at that, guilt is at 30, right? Shame is at 20. That drops our energy. That helps no one. So even the person suffering out there, if we felt courage and gratitude, acceptance and love for them, instead of just guilt or feeling bad for them, that holding as an energetic beam in this Merkaba, which is our energetic connection to all beings around us, the collective human energy network. Imagine this going all dark and low, level of 30, when it can be higher and more helpful, spread more light, especially in times of darkness and calamities. That's technically a better option, right? So yes, we can't turn our emotions off of sadness for others, but let's try to make that guilt, feeling bad, into gratitude for people who do suffer. Like, thank you, for, in a way, helping us see what darkness is out there, so we can be better prepared. And when that situation does come to us, we'll be better prepared. And then just pray for them that their soul rests in peace, but also make it a point to show them gratitude if they passed or if they're suffering. And then we have, again, the crystal skull, wisdom. What does that represent? So that's clarity, divine healing. Again, this is funny, high vibrational energy, which we just talked about, right? High vibrational energy doesn't just mean rainbows and unicorns. It also means the courage, right? Being fierce with our love, telling the darkness that it can't overpower the light, holding it down for folks who can't help given their circumstances, they can't feel gratitude, they can't feel courage, right? So we sort of energetically should hold a higher vibration and project that energy towards them and help them kind of get out of their suffering. So when we talk about praying for them or sending them money is another energy form, right? So depending on how you give, not even how much you give, it's how we give, with what energy we give, that matters the most. Are we giving it just to be like, oh, I gave this much, but that's it, my job's done? Or I'm giving this in the form of love and appreciation, in the hopes that it really helps them out, like with that humility that has a higher vibration than just throwing money at someone, right? So those types of things. I think that was a mix of information I just threw at you guys. But yeah, let me read about the order of Melchizedek. I think I just want to mention who Melchizedek is. Oh, Crystal Skull Wisdom came up. So it actually opened up to the Crystal Skull Wisdom. So I'll just read that while I'm at it. So, your message: all aspects of your life all aspects of your life are becoming clearer at this time. Expect to become aware of what you need to step away from to have a more focused path. You may have felt indecisive, but now you are downloading direct guidance from the heart of Source, so that you can live and express yourself in a more authentic way. Know that downloads, aka downloads, are messages that you get from your higher self, aka your higher consciousness, your soul consciousness, which is directly connected with Source. And how do you discern between that voice and your ego voice? Your ego voice will try to keep you small and just separate from others. But this higher voice is always the smarter one. The one that's like, okay, it's connecting everyone together and speaks from love. And no ego, intentions, fear, insecurities behind that energy. So downloads can be like you're doing something and then all of a sudden you get like an inspirational message or a quote pops up. You can think of that as a download. Or when you're making artwork, a random idea comes to your mind and then you end up making a really beautiful drawing or painting. That can also be a download. It's just a packet of information that you might not have thought of with the old ideas in your mind. So these downloads come, creativity, inspirational ideas are fresh from like some stream of consciousness that you haven't really looked at before or accessed before. Oh yeah. So Kyle is saying, know that downloads often appear as your own inner guidance, encouraging you to move forward. The key is to recognize the calmness they bring. So they'll be super calm. They won't be loud like the ego voice in your head. This is a time of clarity and connection. Crystal Skull downloads are here to bring clarification to what you have been receiving within. In order for the next phase of your journey to unfold, you must follow the information you have received. Refreshing ideas, right? Ideas that kind of light the spark within you, your mind and your heart. and get you on your feet and going. If you've been asking for a sign that the healing work you have been doing has been successful, trust that this card is the message you have been waiting for. Crystal skull. So this is also talking about can be a reference to crystal healing, right? Our bodies also holds crystal energy, aka we have a light body, but just like channeling different crystals. Let me get this one. These types of crystals, this is like amethyst, they hold consciousness. So I can, if I meditate and focus, channel the energy of this crystal, just like this has energy and can give me guidance and protection. Within us, we have this advanced technology to our light body, our crystal body, crystalline body, the ascended physical aspect that's connected to different galactic systems, right? Different light, different streams of consciousness. This is a representation of that. So allow more divine healing, call on the angels, call on Archangel Metatron to activate your Merkaba. If you ever find yourself unsafe or in an unsafe environment. Right, Melchizedek. We can do Melchizedek, and then if you guys have to go, that's fine. It's funny, Memories of Atlantis and Merkaba activation, they're like right next to each other in this book. Okay, and Order of Melchizedek is right after the Merkaba. Oh, this is funny. This is when our spirit guides are just like giving us all the answers right next to each other. Okay, your message. Melchizedek is Melchizedek, whose name means King of Righteousness, is the first high priest mentioned in the Bible, the one who initiated all the great teachers that followed him. He is mentioned in several Abrahamic texts, including the Dead Sea Scrolls, the Kabbalist Zohar. The Kabbal is a Western. I feel like I keep going into these subjects and there's so much information to share. Like the Eastern texts, right? That have so much wisdom in them. The Kabbal that's a whole Western thing. Like we have chakras here, like the Tree of Life, those concepts come in. So Melchizedek is an ancient gatekeeper of the light who was dedicated to helping all those walking their spiritual path to take the initiatory steps to align with light. And he usually does pop up from this deck for me. So he's not new. He's been helping in his consciousness, ascended consciousness, spiritual, energetic dimension. If we connect with it, that's what we mean when these types of spiritual guides are helping us. Through meditation, we can access their blessings, their guidance. So the best way to describe this great being is as a wizard. When you invoke him, you will feel the presence of a loving and angelic grandfather who wants to guide you to your greatness. The Order of Melchizedek, which was mentioned by Jesus in the New Testament, is a divine order of very high frequency light beings, angels, and masters who are working together as an energetic force dedicated to lighting up and outshining all darkness and bringing a greater balance of masculine and feminine energies to the earth. Pretty cool, because that's what we were just talking about 15 minutes ago. The masculine, feminine energies of Atlantean beings, right? How masculine kind of wanted more power, more control, and forgot their mission they were on this planet for, in service to Source. The Order of Melchizedek, the members of it include Jesus Christ, Archangel Michael, Archaea Faith, she's also an archangel, and Mother Mary. By connecting with these cosmic beings, we give permission for our energy to be upgraded by light and to light, so that we can become an even greater vessel of purpose for the world. Greater vessel, again, the Merkaba, right? We can activate all our Merkabas. Imagine us consciously activating our Merkabas. So, in the great network of human consciousness, in love and light, we can connect with all the Merkabas and even speed up the process of ascension even more. Okay, I think that's a lot of oracle cards for today, but everything kind of ended up connecting. And oh my god, because you can't, this is at the bottom, we have the Anunnaki. They keep coming. And then, like I mentioned, my experience, right? My personal experience with E.T.s, Anunnaki, they were the ones, they fused my light bulb. But, again, I'll maybe next week we can go into those things, but it's funny, it's the bottom of the deck. Again, energetic shift, new information, disclosure, right? Disclosure of E.T.s, end of a cycle of us humanity being stuck in the old ways of thinking that we're the only ones in creation. But no, there are more beings out there. That doesn't mean we should undermine the human experience. The human experience is the most blessed experience one can have. That's why these E.T.s, benevolent ones, they come to us, because humanity was created basically as a peace contract between the E.T. races. But the negative E.T.s ended up taking advantage of the contract. Why wouldn't they, right? They're evil. It's in their nature, as God created them to do so. So that's why Atlantis fell, but it's okay. We are standing now for sure. And then Anunnaki are the original E.T.s who ended up using human beings in the beginning sort of as slaves. But, right, there's always those 5 or group of elites who are the bad apples. So, yeah, I've been working on not judging them and opening up to their divine guidance. Yeah. And then having Arcturian guides as well does help me balance out or feel safe, as with guidance from Archangel Michael and obviously our favorite cosmic consciousness holder, Archangel Metatron. So activate your Merkabas, your spaceships of energy and safety, especially when you're traveling or in a new environment. And then just remember, you're not just flesh and bones. We all are crystalline Christ consciousness beholders, beings. Let's leave that one. And again, Akashic records, right? Source consciousness, in the library of that, we have taken different life forms, in order to serve source by playing the game of different forms, different beings, for the purpose of expanding creation at the bare, like the basic level of explanation I can do.